Welcome to the News on Wearside program, a roundup of some of the top stories that have affected the Northeast so far this year. I'm Philip Ward.
And I'm Amina Ibrahim. The headlines.
Sunderland voted to leave the EU in the referendum. But in March this year, hundreds of people from the city joined protesters from across the Northeast to campaign against Brexit.
Sunderland has picked up the pace in an effort to win the 2021 City of Culture bid with an event at the Bangladesh Centre.
The Northeast says no to Trump. People in Newcastle protest against the U.S. president making an official visit.
But first, a protest march has happened in Newcastle. Hundreds of people gathered in the city centre to protest against Britain leaving the EU.
The decision had already been made, and Prime Minister Theresa May plans to trigger Article 50 by the end of March.
I went down there earlier this month.
So we're setting off at 12:30 from City Pool, and we're going to march through Northumberland Street with our flags and our chants, and then we're going to regroup at Monument, where we've got some loads of different speakers there. I think even more people will be down at the Monument, to be honest. I think there'll be more people again there.
Today is showing we are united as one. Around 700-800 people have marched through the heart of Newcastle to say no to leaving the European Union. And yes, we love the European Union. We're not prepared to leave without a fight.
Come from Kingston upon Thames in South West London.
I travelled up from Carlisle today.
I'm from Germany and I've lived in Newcastle for 28 years.
I think it's disastrous for us to come out of Europe. It's sad, disappointing, and it will be very damaging.
I'm angry that my rights are being taken away from me, and I didn't even get a vote. I always wanted to study in Europe. Well, it's my dream, really. And now it's just being taken away from me, and it's not right.
Tinder is a popular dating app which has over 50 million users worldwide.
The app was launched in 2012 and has changed the way modern teenagers interact with one another. Adam Wood has been looking into the dangers of dating on Tinder for teenagers.
Meeting people, making friends more than anything.
The way we meet people has changed an awful lot. We now use the power of social media and apps such as Tinder. Now, we've all heard the horror stories of these dating apps, but meet Liam, a 19-year-old who uses Tinder and apps such as Grindr and Hornet. Liam has met a few people from Tinder and other dating apps. The 19-year-old is from Australia and emigrated from the UK when he was 13. He explains how Tinder can be used to making friends in a country that you don't really know, but also it's probably not the most safest way to meet people to be more than friends.
I met with this one guy off Tinder. He was a few years older than me, but I'd only just got here, so I needed someone to show me around. So he said he would. And we went out for a few drinks. And then while we were out, I started feeling really dizzy, and I said to him, I think someone's put something in my drink. And so he acted really concerned, or so I thought, and he said, I'll take you home, and so he paid for a taxi and brought me back here. And I don't remember anything from the lobby upwards, and I woke up and I was in my bed and he was gone, so I don't know what happened. Anything could have happened, really. I didn't drink much, but I felt really hungover almost, so I probably was definitely spiked, but I felt violated because even though nothing could have happened, but there's still a high chance that something did happen because I woke up and in my bed, in my underwear, and he wasn't here. I don't know, because I'm still new here and I'm still forming relationships, I don't really want to tell people when I go out.
So the moral of the story is, from Liam, make sure you tell someone where you're going.
An anti-Donald Trump protest has taken place in Newcastle.
People have come together in an attempt to stop the President of the United States from coming to the UK on an official state visit. Theo Pegas reports.
Hundreds of protesters gathered in Newcastle city centre to stand up to Trump and his policies. People sent their messages against the President of the United States, saying no to Islamophobia, racism and sexism.
We're from Canada originally, but we live here permanently now. My wife and I have two children, one of them born in Canada, one of them born in the UK. They're both called migrants by the system. One reason we would like to be here is because we feel that the UK could be more open.
I'm here to stick by my fellow immigrants and just try and do the right thing, get the right message out there.
We believe that cultural diversity is a really positive thing. More different races and nations that come together in Newcastle that makes it a better place to live.
I want to stop Donald Trump from ruining the world and stop him from being racist.
Diversity is what makes this country great.
What we're trying to achieve is to let this government and to let Trump know that there are people in this country who do not think that he should be awarded the honour of a state visit. But also, I would hope that it would encourage other people in this country to stand up for what they know is right and against what they know actually is wrong.
We are gathered here in solidarity to say, not in our name.
Would have been different if 16 and 17-year-olds could have voted. Our reporter spoke to the Labour MEP.
Do you think that the outcome of the referendum would have been different if 16 and 17-year-olds could have voted?
Almost certainly yes. All the evidence is that the younger people were, the more they were inclined to vote for staying in the European Union, and that older people were more inclined to vote to leave. And that if the 16 and 17-year-old tranche of the population had had the vote, which is what the Labour Party argued for, then it would have made a difference, because at the end of the day it was very close. It was 48 to 52%. There was a relatively small club. I mean, it wouldn't be the case that all young people would have voted to stay, but the majority would have done, and it could have swung it. And so I think it's a great shame that young people aged 16 and 17 didn't have the vote. They've got, all things being equal, the longest future ahead of them, whereas the old, people over 80 who voted to leave the European Union, the demographics are such that they don't have much of a life in front of them. They're at the end of their lives, so they've taken a decision and then will be gone, leaving young people to deal with what many of us think will be rather a mess, and that seems unfair. But we lost that argument, and we're in the situation we're now in.
As part of an attempt to reduce hate crimes in the city, a Stand Up to Racism conference has taken place in Sunderland. Our reporter Patricia Marquez was one of the people in attendance.
On the 2nd of March, the University of Sunderland hosted a Stand Up to Racism conference following the growth of race-related hate crimes in the Northeast. The panel had a range of speakers from organizations such as UCU, Stand Up to Racism, Show Racism the Red Card, Newcastle Unites, and Seminar Road Mosque. On December the 30th, Sunderland Echo released an article claiming that racist incidents in Sunderland more than doubled in the 3 months following the Brexit vote. Statistics obtained by the Echo show 72 racist incidents were reported between July and September that year, compared with 34 in the corresponding period in 2015. So you were a spokesperson today in the Stand Up to Racism conference.
That's correct.
So what was your main message, would you say, in a few
The message is we need to stand up to racism, we need to get active, and we need to get organised, and we need to organise the majority of people who are against racism to get their voices heard, as opposed to the minority of people who are racist.
Do you promote any specific type of events?
We have a demonstration in London on the 18th of March, for which I hope people from Sunderland will go down to, and we have various local initiatives and so on. So we respond to any racist incident that takes place, and actually we try to get people out and about doing things.
Well, my main message was that the majority of us are not racist. The minority is a racist, and the majority are very quiet, and we need to find our voices. And we need to tackle the racism and Islamophobia, and tackle the media view on Islam, which is totally wrong. We're not all terrorists. We're very peaceful people.
To support the fight against racism in the northeast of England, you can also join the Stand Up to Racism organization and bring awareness to the growing issue of racial discrimination.
The Sunday
of the city.
I went down to the center to find out more about the event.
1, 2, 3.
The Sunderland Bangladesh International Centre is in full support of Sunderland's 2021 City of Culture bid. They wanted to showcase the many talents and the diversity of the people in the city.
Basically, we had 21 different local acts performing, and also we had 21 different nationalities of individuals representing Sunderland and their local talents. So we wanted to showcase what we have in the city for the Sunderland 2021 bid.
There was a time that it all went wrong. I sold my soul to a three-piece, and he told me I was holy.
Rebecca Ball, director of the bid, is calling for people all ages to get behind the city.
Older people and younger people and people from all different countries and lots of different ethnic backgrounds, and so that you've got a diverse range of people, and that the bid is actually engaging with people who are from a diverse range of backgrounds.
Philip Ward, News on Wearside.
A 20-year-old man from Sunderland was born with only one forearm because of a disease called amelia. Despite his condition, Anthony is still in the gym working out and lifting weights every day. Bianca Bratanu joined him for a gym session.
There's nothing stopping you. If you put your arm behind your back, what can you do? You can't really do a lot, but you've just got to think outside the box. My name's Anthony Wright, I'm 20 years old. I was born with one arm. If I didn't train it, I would have been a little lopsided. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to do something about it. So then I just decided to start the gym and haven't really stopped from there. It's just made us more confident, more motivational. It made us like a better person. I was scared to take my arm off. Now I walk around with no arm, people ask us questions and I can throw out what they do. I always get complimented. Like people always go like, you're really inspiring. Like even when I'm not in the gym, people come up and say, like how do you do it and why do you do it? But I just say it's just normal for me. This was like secure, but as it gets quite sweaty for like the things like, but and that clamps in, so it clamps in there, so it sticks in so it can't move. It's tight in like a socket, so every time I lift the weight, so it'll just knock them off. My mindset is I've got two arms. Like it's always something I wanted to do. And if I can do it with one arm, why can't you do it with two?
Local band Picnic have announced that their guitarist has left the group after a year of performing and recording with them. This means the band have had to act fast in order to find a replacement, with some big events on the horizon. Chris Cam found out more.
Sunderland-based band Picnic recently announced the arrival of a new guitarist. Daniel Baster has joined the band to replace Ryan Welsh, who recently stepped down. The decision to bring in the 21-year-old is one that came easily.
We've known Danny for a couple of years through university and through seeing him in other bands and stuff like that. So when it came up that we needed another guitarist to fill in, he was kind of the first person we asked.
Right, I was over the moon, to be honest with you, over the moon.
The decision of Welsh to leave the band left them with a small dilemma regarding the music that their former guitarist had left behind.
I think a lot of the parts needed rewriting anyway, so...
Yeah, we've kind of started afresh with some of them, just because Danny's had his own kind of parts to them and put his own style to it.
Plus I didn't have a clue what Ryan was doing.
Picnic intend to create even more momentum this year after their successful debut in 2016.
I'd just say watch out for City of Culture.
Oh yeah.
There's Sunderland City of Culture bid, because we're involved with those people at the minute, and we've got a couple of exciting things coming up with them. So I'd say watch out for that.
And they even have some surprises in store.
We've got some more recording planned in the summer with another band that we can't really say anything about yet.
Top secret.
But I think we've got a lot of plans for.
I'm glad I didn't jump in with the name of the band. I was just. Oh, no,
I was ready.
This is Chris Cam reporting for SR News.
A pub in Seaham has recently caught fire in the early hours of the morning.
Firefighters were quick to the scene and spent hours trying to put it out. I went down to Bar Avenue last week to speak to an eyewitness.
We're here at Bar Avenue, the bar that caught fire last night. We spoke to residents and they said the fire started at 1 a.m. in the morning and wasn't put out by the fire brigade till 4.
Well, it was about 1:15 this morning. Just there, the sun. You smell the smoke from the back windows. We thought it was one of the gardens on fire. So I checked out and all I could see was smoke all over. We decided to come to the toilet and we looked out the window, bathroom window, and we saw flames at the bar venue upstairs. So we decided to shout me out. I just told them, I said, just phone the fire brigade straight away. And by the time they got there, it was well away anyway. Flames were kind of high from the roof. 2 fire engines, and another couple come about 20 minutes later.
The police are here, the fire brigade is here, and the Durham Crime Scene Investigation Unit is also here. The police couldn't make a comment at this time because investigations are still going on.
For SR News, I'm Nina Ibrahim.
A huge bike ride has been organized in Blythe for 22-year-old Jamie Hartley, who has a terminal illness. The event started to take shape after a Facebook post by his father. In the post, he asked for friends for a sidecar so he can take his son on one last ride. Our reporter went down and covered the event.
Thousands of bikers from across UK gathered on Sunday in Blythe for Jamie's last ride after his father's online post went viral. 22-year-old bike enthusiast Jamie Hartley suffers from juvenile Huntington's disease, with only a few months left to live.
The thing he most loves in life, being on a motorbike, feeling the wind in his face. There's no easy way to say this, but essentially Jamie has probably 5 or 6 months left to live with us. So it was now or never.
His dad wanted to give him his last ride. He made a Facebook post asking for a sidecar, but the support that was received was totally unexpected, with thousands of messages and shares. The event turned out to be a success, with over £5,000 raised for the family and a ride that won't be soon forgot.
BBC Question Time visited Sunderland this March and was filmed at Academy 360 in Pennywell. An audience of 150 were in attendance to question the panel. The principal of
We're really pleased to welcome BBC Question Time here to Academy 360. Many of you who know Pennywell and Academy 360 will know that the school has had quite a turbulent past. I think that having the opportunity to host BBC Question Time here in Pennywell shows that this school really has turned a corner. We were contacted by the BBC some weeks ago and asked if we would be interested in hosting BBC Question Time. Following the initial conversation, a technical team visited to do a survey, take measurements, look at our facilities here, and we were really pleased when they confirmed that they would be coming here. What you can see at the moment is the technical crew and the camera crew setting up for tonight's show. We are looking forward to welcoming panellists this afternoon and Question Time's presenter David Dimbleby. I expect that there'll be a topical debate this evening on many issues that are currently in the media, perhaps Brexit, perhaps yesterday's budget. It really is for the audience to decide what they want to talk about. So it's a wonderful opportunity to see a national show here being hosted on their doorstep. We hope that when they tune in to watch this evening, that they see that there are opportunities beyond Pennywell, in politics perhaps, because it's another great career option amongst the other careers that we promote here at the Academy. The viewers who will tune in this evening, I hope that they get a feel through the audience and what the audience say that local people really are passionate about topical issues that influence everybody across the country, and they have a voice that deserves to be heard as well.
Sports with Cameron Petrie.
Slump and look even closer to a totally unsurprising relegation. They always leave it late and get to some form to somehow stay up. This time, they may have left it too late. January was a winless month in the Premier League for the Wearside club, despite valiant displays against Spurs and Liverpool. February brought hope to Sunderland after a 4-0 win at Selhurst Park against old boss Sam Allardyce's side Crystal Palace. Following this, they received a 4-0 loss at home to mid-table team Southampton. The Maccabees have not won a game since this March and are bottom of the Premier League by 8 points, with 9 games to save their season, which is looking ever more impossible. Unlike Sunderland, the last 3 months have been very good for Newcastle United. The club have secured their return to the Premier League and achieved promotion as champions after they beat Barnsley 3-0 on the final day of the season, while the title rivals Brighton only picked up a point against Aston Villa. A season highlight for the club would be their 2-1 victory away from home at Brighton, their closest challengers for the title. Goals from Mohamed Diame and substitute Jose Perez completed the comeback, taking all 3 points. They also followed that with a 3-1 win at promotion hopeful Huddersfield Town. Newcastle will be hopeful the manager Rafa Benitez receives financial backing from owner Mike Ashley to help build a successful team. The most successful North East football team this campaign might well be South Shields FC. They played in 4 competitions this year and are on their way to winning all of them. They've won the league and 2 cups and will be playing at Wembley on May 21st in the FA Vars final. Kieran Carr went to Marius Park to speak to Carl Finnegan about the upcoming final.
Congratulations on last night's win. How was the game?
Cheers, yeah, it was brilliant. We set out with a plan to win it, and maybe the first 30-35 minutes we weren't at our best, but we got the job done, took the lead and then looked to dominate from there.
And that is now a double, I think it is, isn't it? Got a game on Saturday and then Wembley as well. What was the target before the season?
4.
Oh, 4.
4 competitions, 4 trophies, and like you says, we've got 2 out of 2 now. We've got 2 more left, so we've got a big derby against North Shields on Saturday. That'll set us up nicely for the Vars.
And looking forward to Wembley on the 21st, how's the lads feeling towards the game? Are they nervous? Is it excitement, or is it a mix of both?
It's excitement, I think. It's a special occasion. It's a lovely venue, and as a squad, we're just so excited to get there. All the hard work, all the graft that's gone into to get into a final, I think you should just enjoy it, and that's definitely the mood.
And those players who've been to Wembley before, played at Wembley, have they sort of gave any advice to players, or is it sort of been just a bit of banter between the lads about who's been there and who hasn't?
Yeah, it's just been banter, because I think quite a few players have played in front of big crowds, at different stadiums around the country, so everybody's had a taste of a big crowd, but obviously Wembley's a special venue, so there has been a bit of banter, but no, I think everybody's just excited more than anything.
And for you personally, obviously being local, is it nice to come back after you've played in Scotland or where else and come back and play for South Shields and go to Wembley with essentially your hometown club.
Absolutely it is, yeah. I played in the Scottish Cup final at Hampden, you know, in front of 60,000, and at that time, you know, it was a massive achievement for me, but I always had a dream of playing at Wembley. It was always something that was on my bucket list, and I think with my career going up to Scotland, I never thought it would really happen. So to come back to my hometown and have that opportunity was immense, and to get there is just top, you know.
And the fans as well, I've heard there's a lot of ticket sales already for Wembley. It seems like they've really pushed and really kept you going as well.
Yeah, the support has been absolutely outstanding, you know, from the start of the season we've been there, and obviously because we've won so many games and the momentum's built, and the fans have just came, and we're at the position now where we've sold around about 10,000 for Wembley, which is absolutely phenomenal, and I'm assuming that's going to keep growing, you know, towards the game, so we're going to have a massive support there, and as a group of players we can't wait to put a show on for that.
Well, best of luck, thank you very much.
Cheers, thanks very much. Cheers, thanks. Cheers, bud.
Moving on to rugby union. North East Elite Rugby Union club Newcastle Falcons had a great New Year's present with a league win over Bath, finishing 24-22 to the Falcons. This kept their Champions Cup ambitions alive. Both losses came in the European Challenge Cup, which seems to have ended their hopes of getting out of the group stage, after falling to defeats from French side Grenoble and Wearside Ospreys. The month ended well for the Falcons after they picked up an away win against Newport Gwent Dragons in the Anglo-Welsh Cup, keeping silverware hopes alive. They beat Bath at home again, but in the Anglo-Welsh Cup this time. Falcons then lost to Sale away and then beat Northampton Saints at home. This was key for their Champions Cup hopes, which are becoming thinner by the game. Title contenders Exeter Chiefs condemned Falcons to a 36-14 defeat in Sandy Park, which has never been an easy place to get a win for any club. Falcons only played 2 matches this month after getting knocked out of the European Challenge Cup and the Anglo-Welsh Cup. Falcons lost to English and European champions Saracens 27-35 at home after having a late comeback crushed by Saracens. Crunch match with fellow Champions Cup position rivals Harlequins lost 53-17 away at the Stoop. Falcons Champions Cup hopes are now hanging on by a thread after back-to-back losses in March. In other sporting news, on Thursday, the 2nd of February, the Premier League of Darts kicked off its season in Newcastle Metro Radio Arena. The tournament's last 16 weeks, with the 16th and final week seeing the semi-finals and the final tournament being played. The tournament sees the 10 best players in the world of darts competing week in, week out to both survive relegation, which occurs in week 9. 2 players with the lowest points are relegated, and to qualify for the semi-finals. The main event of the opening night in Newcastle was a rematch of the 2017 World Final between newly crowned 2-time world champion and reigning Premier League champion Michael van Gerwen and former 2-time world champion plus 2-time Premier League champion Gary Anderson. The match ended in a thrilling, well-deserved 6-all draw, despite van Gerwen being 4-2 up at one point. Earlier in the night, Phil Taylor kicked off his final Premier League campaign with a routine 7-3 win over out-of-sorts Dave Chisnell. Raymond van Barneveld had it all to do after being 4-1 down to Adrian Lewis. However, a string of missed doubles allowed Barney to take 6 of the next 7 legs to ensure a dramatic 7-5 victory. In the opening match of the night tournament, former Premier League champion James Wade defeated Kim Humbrakes in a well-contested 7-5 win, whilst Peter Wright rounded off the evening with a 7-4 win over Yele Clarkson. That's the sport. I'm Cameron Petrie.
Now for the entertainment segment of the Now Show. Chris Hemsworth, Dave Bautista, and the cast of the new Avengers film have been in the Northeast. They were filming at Durham Cathedral with the film set for 2018 release, and fans of the film flocked to the cathedral, but they were not so much lucky in finding and seeing their idols.
Little Mix have had a fantastic year so far. They've won a Brit Award for Best Single for their hit track, Shout Out to My Ex. The group, which consists of Jade Thirlwell and Perry Edwards from South Shields, are currently on a world tour for their newest album, Glory Days.
South Tyneside Comedy Festival will be returning for a second year in the summer of 2017 as festival bosses try and emulate the success of the opening year. Acts already announced include Rory Bremer, the Mimic Men, the Geordie Rat Pack, Pete Furman, and it is expected that local comedians Chris Ramsey and Sarah Milliken will also be added to the lineup. Last year's lineup included I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here contestant Joel Dommett.
And lastly, Cheryl has given birth to her first child. The former Girls Aloud singer, an X Factor judge, named her son Bear Payne. The father of the boy is Liam Payne from British boy band.
That's the end of our News on Wearside program this evening with me, Philip Ward.
And me, Amina Ibrahim. Thank you for watching. I changed the order of the heads though.
Yeah, but they're on the auto cue, right?
Hmm? You're gonna stand for 20 minutes? Sorry, boo. You're not wearing these. You're not gonna stick it under the table, are you? Give it to Bianca.